In our hyperconnected world, digital identity has become crucial for online interactions and security. Unlike traditional identities that rely on physical documents, digital identities encompass various identifiers, including usernames, passwords, biometrics, and even behavioral patterns. This dynamic representation of identity continues to evolve to meet security demands of today's digital age. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Analytics Insight podcast, where we talk about the ever evolving tech space. And I'm your host, Priya Dialani. Now, authentication has evolved rapidly in the past few years. Technologies like passwordless authentication, multi factor authentication, and social login methods are transforming authentication systems and making them more secure and accessible. These have revealed clear trends as well as some new interactions that are likely to dominate the authentication market in the years to come. So, what are these trends? Let's welcome Naman Mishra, founder of Sedax, a data solutions private limited, to give more insights on this. Hi, Naman, how are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing good too. Thank you, Naman. And it's a pleasure to have you with us on a podcast today. And of course, we are touching, the theme for today is pretty different and very less talked about, I feel. So I am sure our listeners would enjoy listening to this conversation of ours. So before we dive, deeper into the core theme that we are going to talk today, we would like to know more about Sedax Data Solutions. So if you could help us understand more about the organization, its specialization, or any particular solution the company is offering.
Sure. Let me start by introducing myself. I'm Naman Mishra, founder and CEO of Sedax. So, Sedax Data Solutions actually is a forward-thinking technology company specialized in creating secure, efficient, and scalable identity solution. So, as you know that KYC is doorstep of entering into any customer and a business relationship between an entity and a person. So currently what happens while doing a KYC verification at any entity, you have to surrender your personal data to a third party, and the reliability of their secure infrastructure for data safety and the trust that is there that your data will be handled in a very secure way, that is not there. So we saw an opportunity there where in certain third party verification, you have to submit your personal data in a hard copy manner. Like, for example, when you go to a hotel for the check-in, you have to submit your identity, like in India, like Aadhaar and driving license or voter ID, and you have to submit in a hard copy manner. Now, that is very vulnerable. So it's very problematic because once you surrender your personal identity to a person, so without any liability, so what is going to happen with that data, you don't know. Like what is, how they are keeping it, how are they misusing it, and data leakage probability is very high in that particular scenario. So this is where we created CDAX, where a person can do can verify him or herself at any third party vendors without exposing their personal data to them. So that's why we created a blockchain based solution where a person can verify to any third party entity without exposing their data, personal data, to any third party, and without any thought that their data is saved to any third party servers or somewhere else.
Right. Thank you for that great overview, Naman. And it's fascinating to hear how your organization is positioning itself in such a dynamic and evolving space, and specifically when security is concerned. And I'm sure our listeners have a clear picture of what you do. So let's dive a little deeper into your specific role and how you're helping drive this vision forward. So it would be great if you could, help us understand more about yourself. How has your journey till date? What exactly is your role and contribution towards the company?
As a founder and as a CEO, my role is specific to identifying the problems and creating and doing a strategic collaboration with the government agencies, because more of these KYC verifications is regulated by the government agencies here in India. So while there are two kind of sectors for KYC here. One is licensed and one is unlicensed in India. So let me give a bit brief about it, because licensed one is that is given which is regulated by the government, which happens in banking sector, telecom sector, NBFCs, organizations uses it, and unlicensed sector is where you are compelled to give your to submit your hard copy, like in hotel check-in system. And let's say you are going to buy gold worth more than 50,000 rupees in India. You have to submit your PAN card and your Aadhaar card with the shop or the showroom owner, and such KYC sectors. So my role is specific to identify such problems and create a solution around it and do a government collaborations. And again, so Sedax is actually a KYC specific solution. So to create, because for every organization, for every scenario, the KYC verification need for the KYC verification is different. So creating solution around it, how we can integrate blockchain into it, so to reduce the dependency of any the centralized server, and enhance, give more and more privacy friendly solution to our users. So that is my role.
That's fascinating, and thank you for giving us an insight look into the journey and the impact you have had. Now, going down digital identity memory lane is more than, I think, just a nostalgic trip. It's a fascinating journey that reveals how digital identities have evolved over time and shaped the overall digital landscape we live in today. Now, in the early stages of computer science, the concept of a digital identity was as simple as having a username and a password. Now, with the advent of biometric technology, it has marked a seismic shift in the digital identity landscape. Now, this technology introduced a new form of a digital identifier, unique physical or behavioral characteristics such as your fingerprints, your facial features, your voice patterns, or even keystroke dynamics. So, could you highlight the current state of digital identity management, which probably includes your passwords, your biometric systems, and even multi-factor authentication?
So the current digital identity management system has evolved significantly. I'd say that passwords, they are used widely right now, in considering the past also, but they are very susceptible to breaches. It can be stolen, it can be recognized by any other malicious actor, and it can be used, against you. But biometric authentications, such as fingerprint, facial recognition, and retina scans have gained attraction for secure identity verification. So they have, reduced the dependency of on the traditional system and methods. But in the age of AI, using facial recognition is kind of a in a problematic area, because the videos are being created, the facial expressions are being created. So, and AI is also using to identify them. And if we come to multi-factor authentication, which it can be combined between many things, like password with biometrics, OTPs, and or some hardware tokens. It enhances the security and also give a layer of security, a multi-layer security to users to protect their personal data, or their social media accounts. But it also come with usability challenges, because if you loses any other factor other than your password, let's say you are using any authenticator or you are using any hardware, if you loses that particular factor, then you also do not have the access of your account. So they have their pros and cons also.
Agreed. I think that was a fantastic overview of the current state of digital identity management, and you really highlighted some of the critical challenges we are facing, and how advanced solutions or cutting edge solutions could definitely be an answer to these challenges. Now, traditionally, access control systems relied on methods such as key cards, passwords, and pin numbers. However, these methods are often vulnerable to breaches, and they result in unauthorized access and compromised security. Now, on the other hand, we have biometric technology and AI. So, with this combination, it offers a more robust and secure solution by utilizing unique physical or behavioral traits for identification purposes. Now, these can include fingerprints, your voice patterns, and behavioral patterns like your typing rhythm. Now, many businesses are already using this technology. technology. So, how do you think that biometric systems are evolving with the advent of machine learning and artificial intelligence, and how it improves accuracy and fraud prevention?
I think AI-driven biometric systems are continuously improving. Day by day, I hear something, I read about it, that how it is helping in liveness detection and tackling the spoofing attacks. Ensuring system can differentiate between real users and fraudulent attempts, and that is the biggest challenge on the digital world. That how you can differentiate a real user from a fraudulent attempt. Like if the person is trying to log in as the same person, or an impersonator. So that is the problem, which I think AI-driven these biometric systems are definitely helping us, but it is improving day by day, but it's need more and more improvement because firstly, for everyone, it is kind of this solution is kind of expensive to use. And second thing is that the challenge for machine learning is that it is yet need to be trained according to the need of verification and the solution that is needed to be rolled out in a very streamlined way for every entity who can use. Because the problem is that whenever you try to do KYC verification and create a user-centric solution, you forget about the vendors or the third party who are verifying the person. So the solution should be such streamlined that even it can be used and afforded by the users also, and it can be used and afforded by the third party vendors also. And the uh, the continuous identity validation, is being explored to ensure that persistent authentication throughout a session, reducing the risk of identity theft. So I think AI-driven biometric system are doing a great job, and it is needed to be it needs to be more and more evolve and improve in coming days and time.
Yeah, well, definitely I agree with you, Naman, and I think that's a really fascinating space that we are talking about because when we talk about identity today, it's no longer just about what you know, like a password or what you have, probably like a card, but increasingly who you are. And I think AI is taking to that, next level because, for example, facial recognition systems, they're becoming more accurate at detecting subtle features, even in challenging lighting or with partial obstructions. So that's the
Right,
power of AI we are witnessing today. Now,
right, right,
while we are talking about AI, I would also want to talk about and another technology. Now, like we discussed, the concept of digital identity has grown extremely broad and resulting in the assumption that it only refers to publicly accessible personal information online. Now, you would be incorrect if you thought your digital identity was limited to your social media profiles or email addresses and even home address. Now, because digital identity displays a person's even finest actual and online personas. Now, your online presence, which includes
AI,
your images, your even purchase decisions, your website usage trends, your bank account information, all of this forms a part of your digital identity. However, discrepancies exist in how digital identity is displaced across, numerous platforms such as your banking systems, your social networking sites, and even telecom networks. Now, blockchain identity has transformed the verification and it is making it more secure, more confidential, and more universal. In fact, by 2026, over 5.2 million digital ID wallets are anticipated, which is indicating a transition from
right.
conventional IDs to more intelligent and decentralized alternatives. So, how do you think that blockchain is a
Right.
game changer in digital identity management?
The biggest pros for blockchain is decentralized identity verification. It prevented data breaches and fraud. So while verifying your identity in a digital space, the biggest challenge is that is your data after verification is kept safe, right? It is in a safe hands, which in recent years we have seen that centralized servers are failed to do it. There were continuous data breaches, and personal data uh, are being stolen from users and used for doing for identity theft and financial fraud and creating fake IDs against the users. So blockchain actually eliminates the reliance on these centralized databases, which hugely reduce the risk of large scale identity theft. So in past years, as we have seen in India, there were some leaks from COVID portal, which compromised personal data of millions of users, and and it happened also with the Digi Yatra. So blockchain being used as a decentralized way to store the user's personal data after KYC verification. That is actually a huge advantage in our recent years when the digital space is a part of everyone's life. And you know, blockchain which provides a tamper-proof identity records. So if a person's identity is stored in these kinds of decentralized servers or databases, then there is one surety that their personal information or their identity won't be tampered, ensuring the verification credentials remains unchanged. It also enables self-sovereign identities like SSI framework, which we use here. So it gives users control over their personal data, and without compromising the security. And these kinds of solutions, even in recent years, they are in their primitive stage, but they are continuously evolving as we are working in the space, and we can see how hugely it can impact users, so that their privacy can actually come into their hand. Our motto is your data, your control. So ensuring that privacy powers goes back to users hand, and they can actually hold anyone liable for their personal data safety. And more importantly, that it should be discussed in this recent years, that how we can include users also in this particular solution, in this particular framework, where they have a say that how their data is being treated. So I think blockchain, including blockchain in digital identity management space, is actually going to benefit users. And also we can see a decentralization of personal data, liability, and personal data's privacy keeping for for the users.
Well, that's definitely a very exciting perspective, considering how digital identity has long been a very fragile link in the chain of digital transformation. Because centralized databases, of course, they are prone to breaches and often inaccessible to the very individuals they represent. So it's clear that the system definitely needs a rethink. And with blockchain offering decentralization and transparency, it really does. Presents a systematic shift by giving control back to the users. Of course, while we're talking about the implementation of blockchain, I think we are still facing challenges, but I think over a period of time we'll be able to have a more widespread adoption of blockchain in digital identity management. Moving ahead, I would like to shift gears to the other aspect or the other side of the same coin of digital identity management, because which is about regulation, I would say. Now, in today's ever-evolving digital landscape, the GDPR stands as a very pivotal framework shaping the way businesses manage and safeguard their digital identities. Now, it was enforced in 2018, and it has kind of altered the dynamics of data protection and casting a profound impact on how organizations are handling personal information of their clients. So having said that, when we are nowadays talking about more about how we are processing data, how we are storing, how we are ensuring its privacy and security, how do you think privacy regulations like GDPR or CCPA or India's DPDP Act will impact digital identity systems?
They are definitely changing the space of digital identity management, because they have very strict consent protocols where they give you power back to users to ask questions about how their identity personal data is being managed. And it also ensures this transparency while data handling. GDPR and CCPA, they came earlier some years ago, but DPDP in India is very recent. And the laws, the clauses which is mentioned there, it gives power back to users. In the heart of these laws, and the government is providing that, government is accepting that creating a strict digital law is kind of very important in recent days to protect their users. And digital privacy is kind of a right of every person here living in India or the global citizens. And I think GDPR, CCPA, and DPDP are doing exactly the same thing. They're creating strict consent-based protocols, and they ask transparency. We want to create transparency in data handling, that every, whether it is an organization, whether it is a government, they are liable for secure data handling, and allowing users to control their personal information. The encryptions and the decentralized storage to mitigate the risk of data breaches. The same principle we are keeping with Sedax here. When we design Sedax, we design it around these laws, because which can be compliant with these laws. So it shows that we are ready for the future, including government as a stakeholder, user as a stakeholder, and even organization as a stakeholder. So the system which is designed ensuring data protection, ethical identity management, and regulatory adherence should be there. This is what I feel, that coming up with this laws, uh, government bodies are more and more concerned about users' privacy rights, and they understand the risk of digital personal data of an user. And I think in coming days, in coming years, with the support of the government, with the help of the government, the organizations can create more and more privacy friendly solutions which can reduce the any risk related to data breaches, identity theft, and also provide users to safely interact in the digital space, which is growing day by day.
Right, I think that's a very insightful point that you have shared, especially in a world where trust is becoming the currency of the digital age. And
Correct.
as digital identity systems evolve to power everything from banking to healthcare to even e-governance, it's becoming clear that compliance isn't just a checkbox, it's a foundational to user confidence. And I think regulations, are, pushing organizations to bake in privacy by more sophisticated designing and giving individuals more control over their data. So definitely that's an important point that you have shared here in this conversation. Um, Now moving ahead, I think with digital systems changing and digital identities also changing, the way we work, hire, and manage talent is also undergoing a foundational transformation. Now traditional hiring methods like background checks and onboarding processes are often slow, fragmented, and heavily reliant on manual verification, but that's rapidly changing. Why? Because the rise of digital identity solutions, because these are powered by technologies like blockchain, like we discussed, or AI or biometrics, and it is bringing a new level of trust, transparency, and efficiency in the world of work. Now imagine a future where a candidate's verified credentials, employment history, and skills are instantly shareable, secure, and universally recognized across platforms and borders. So this shift isn't just about convenience, it's about building more inclusive, agile, and a secure employment ecosystem. So, as we look towards 2025 and beyond, a critical question emerges: how digital identity solutions will reshape the hiring and employment landscape in 2025 and beyond. We would like to know your thoughts on this, Naman.
I think it will their impact will be huge, because the main thing while hiring a person is accurate identification, that the person who have presented the particular data about their experience, about their education, and their identity are true or not. And that is a very cumbersome process for the organization, because first of all, the data which they present are fragmented. They lies with multiple organizations or at multiple places. Like the education records remains with their educational institute. Their previous employment records remains with their uh, previous employers. Their identity remains with the government where the citizens are. And that is the challenge while hiring and authenticating a person while recruitment. So the automated identity verification will speed up the recruitment process and while maintaining the security. Because uh, if we say that if we want to speed up the process, we want to change the landscape, we also have to think about security, because we cannot compromise security for speeding up any particular process. So this automated identity verification system speed up the recruitment process and maintaining the security of users' personal data. As you mentioned, the blockchain based credentials. So what blockchain provides is a tamper proof record. So once a record is generated or minted on a chain, it cannot be tempered. So it gives a base of a trust that the credentials which is created, let's say in the past years, with not only by one person, but it includes the participation of the other entity as well. So it gives a basis of trust that the credential which is created is actually true. Third is the biometric access and the basis, the verification based on the biometric, because it streamlined the remote work authentication. Because a person who is currently the remote working is actually used more and more after the COVID era. So to identify a person who is remotely working, that is the same person they have hired, it is actually necessary in the recent times. So biometric based verification actually help us to identify a person who is sitting far away and working for a specific organization. So I think in recent eras, when the recruitment is high, companies expanding, and the organizations are expanding beyond borders, the identification should be fast, accurate, and at the same time should maintain the proper protocols of security for the security of personal data of that particular person. So, as I see in recent years, that this digital identity solution is actually reshaping the hiring and employment landscape in coming years.
Yeah, I agree with you that it's really important that with the integration of technology, we are speeding up the recruitment process, but also ensuring the security of data, personal information of different personnel across borders. And I think digital identity solutions are no longer just about verification; they are becoming enablers of trust, mobility, and opportunity. So I think it's fascinating to think about how these solution might streamline onboarding, prevent credential fraud, and even empower candidates to own and control their employment records across platforms and geographies. So I think as we look ahead, the fusion of AI security with biometric technology is not just a leap forward, it's a giant stride into a more secure tomorrow. So having said that, what are some of the trends that you think which will take place in the coming years that will shape or redefine a digital identity management in 2025 and in the coming years?
So, in coming years, there are many potential, emerging innovations that's happening that could reshape the digital identity verification. Firstly, which we use as decentralized identity system, that DID we are using. It's a self sovereign digital identity which allows users to control over their credentials. And second is the AI powered risk analysis for real time fraud detection, which is very crucial in this time when the verification is happening in the real time basis. So analyzing the risk in the real time, the AI and machine learning is actually giving us an upper hand. It is evolving day by day, and I think it will give a cutting edge for us to, for the risk analysis, for the fraud detection in the real time. And ZKP, the zero knowledge proof authentication, which we use currently in our system. It enables data validation without exposing any personal information, and also allow us to provide need to know basis data that currently whenever the verifications happens, these kind of verifications happens, the data which provide are more than that is needed by the organization. So these type of technologies also enable us to provide the data that is only that is needed for the verification, not any other data other than that is asked or required by the organization or any other third party. So currently at CDEX, it's our goal to stay ahead of these innovations, and by integrating this blockchain based verification, zero knowledge authentication, and also using AI powered for the risk analysis is giving us upper hand. And we are working on it to evolve it on a daily basis that we can create a streamlined and most secure way of verifying a person's identity without compromising the integrity of their personal data.
Right, definitely. I think in an era characterized by rapid digitization and interconnectivity, the value of a secure and reliable digital identity cannot be overstated. It serves as a foundation of a digital lives, enabling a myriad of transactions, interactions, and innovations that define our modern society. Yet, the journey of digital identity is still unfolding as we stand on the cusp of new advancements. Our challenge and responsibility is to shape these technologies in a way that upholds the principles of privacy, inclusivity, and user control. For digital identity to unlock its true potential, I think it's important and it must be developed and deployed with a commitment to these principles. Well, thank you so much, Naman. It was a pleasure having you with us on a podcast today, and thank you for helping us understand that as we continue to explore more technologies and in the digital identity landscape, its impact on our lives and the global landscape will become increasingly significant. As such, we must embrace digital identity not as just technological tool, but as an integral part to our shared digital future. So thank you so much for taking out the time and effort to be on our podcast today. It was lovely chatting with you.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you for having me. It's a great experience for me to share the knowledge with everyone based on this emerging and innovating technologies coming. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Naman. So, this is for our listeners. Thank you for tuning in today's episode. I hope you enjoyed this episode. So, be sure to subscribe, share, and leave us a review. We will be back soon with more insights on the technology shaping tomorrow. You can view all our previous podcasts on Spotify. Until then, stay safe, stay curious, and keep looking ahead. Thank you so much.